Focal Point is a traditional arts center. Mainly we serve as a concert venue for any kind of music that people consider to be folk music. And that's pretty broad the way we the way we interpret it. We have jazz, we have old-time country music, we have bluegrass, we have Irish music, we try to get a lot of international music, and we try to feature a lot of local talent too. Probably the best way to describe our music is anything that you will not hear on commercial radio, right? The Focal Point began life in Webster Groves, and the people who owned the store there, the music store, they sold instruments and so on, Bill and Janet Boyer. They had in mind to do a coffee house. They began Focal Point in 1975, just as an adjunct, a spare room to the music store. They sold part of the building, and Focal Point, as a separate entity, sort of moved to a lot of different places. We were really lucky to find a building in Maplewood, and one thing happened after another that just made it perfect. For one thing, it's a nice shape. The sound carries well. When we ripped up the really ugly carpet that was in here, we discovered a danceable dance floor, and that was brilliant in itself. And then we went to some trouble to make it acoustically good. We put the sound baffles up. We have these nice wooden chairs that don't absorb sound. We're pretty well satisfied that acoustic music and music of all sorts in general sounds really good in this room.
My first gig at the Focal Point was probably around 1978 or 9. It was in a different location, but it was still ran by the same people. It's just been a real encouraging, welcoming, comfortable place to play. It's extremely relaxed because you know you're in good company and you're among friends, and it's just a great listening club. It's not huge, but you can still fit a good amount of people in here.
We're learning a few tricks along the way. We've just recently, because of the pandemic mostly, learned how to do live stream concerts.
So the Focal Point board decided during COVID that they couldn't just shut down and leave the musicians without a place to play. So they decided to start live streaming. So I got involved to help them purchase the equipment and then to train the staff. Once we started live streaming, then the board decided that 100% of the tips would go to the bands. So the tip information came up on the screen between each song and at the beginning and ending of those concerts. And so the live stream audience really supported the bands through the pandemic and gave them an opportunity to have revenue when they couldn't have other gigs. The response to the live streams was tremendous. All the bands obviously have their own followings, but Focal Point had a good following on Facebook, and that's where we live streamed, and that actually grew as we were live streaming. It gave the bands an opportunity to get more exposure, and it gave the fans an opportunity to see concerts.
Just kind of like playing in your living room with your family, you know, it's a really great place. It's the best listening room in St. Louis. It always has been, and it probably always will be. Everyone wants to play the Focal Point.